Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
In the spirit of reconciliation, Love on Campus acknowledges the Kaurna people, the traditional custodians of the land we meet on today, and we acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander and First Nations people.
Welcome back to Love on Campus. I'm Kathleen Stanley and I am joined by Dr. Amy Matthews.
Hello.
And Georgia Nichols.
Hello.
And today you are at our third rotation for this month with the Trope episode. And we are so excited. We are talking about Grumpy Sunshine.
Which is my personal favourite. I love Grumpy Sunshine.
And I think you maybe, though, the problem is I think we're three sunshines sitting here.
I'm trying to think about...
Yeah, I'm my
Amy's a sunshine.
My family have this joke that like I'm never scary. Like I can get mad and everyone's like, "Aw." I've been a bit grumpy lately though. I think I'm tired.
I think just because we're sunshines doesn't mean we don't get pissed off.
But my
things.
grumpy is not at all grumpy.
My grumpy's
same.
My grumpy's like a hangry.
Oh, lucky Kathleen has snacks.
Yeah, that's why George is never grumpy around me.
She's brought us just to share it with everyone. You can hear this crowd. She's brought us individual snacks.
Yeah,
they've got this one that's got white chocolate Rocky Road with nuts. Looks amazing.
And we're going to share a bag of popcorn later. I'm like, yay, next break.
Is it a flavoured popcorn?
It's butter popcorn.
Oh,
it's
yum.
freshly popped because here in South Australia in the Foodlands, I don't know if you guys shop at Foodland.
Yeah, they have
anyone who's listening to us who's not in South Australia, you don't know what a Foodland is and you're missing out.
Actually, the Foodland right near campus is the best supermarket.
The Pasadena Foodland, it is so sick. They have an apothecary in there.
Wasn't it voted best supermarket in the world?
It's one of the best, yeah. It is so freaking cool.
It's got a champagne and oyster bar.
Yeah. There's a grand piano in there and the guy plays the grand piano. It's like so amazing.
The cheese bar, if I go on my way home on a Friday night, the cheese bar just calls to you.
I just love that they have an apothecary in there. I'm like, this is the coolest place on the planet.
And then they have like the fruit and veg section, then a whole nother organic. Anyway, we're doing a
and the bakery
section of Foodland.
Sorry,
we're hungry because we're like supermarket.
I know. Do you know, like if I take my partner, and he's actually a sunshine probably 75% of the time, and then he's grumpy the rest of the time. But if I take him into a supermarket, he's like, oh my God, you take forever. And it's like, because I want to look at everything. If there's a new thing, I want to look at it.
Yes, me too. I get really, you know what? Last month when we were talking about Happy Place, I should have said supermarkets because I love it. My brother and I just go for hours.
I had kids. Like once I had kids, the family
and you have to shop.
The family shop has beaten it out of me.
Yeah. That's totally fair. But my brother and I, we sometimes go. Okay, so we go to a supermarket and it's just like a happy place, and we'll go and wander around and we play a game. And
oh my God, just like in Happy Place.
Yeah, no, but it's a different style.
What is it? What is it? Grocery. There's something.
They split the grocery list, and it's whoever finishes the list
but
first.
It's not.
Wins.
But it's just a way to get their partners to go off.
Yeah. But that's not what we play. What we play is we set a limit, and you go and separate, and you got to buy each other gifts in the supermarket, like treats.
Goodness.
So like you go like $10 or $15 or whatever.
Can I just interrupt
and you
here?
And you
Georgia,
find gifts.
Is it any wonder that this person is obsessed with like Christmas?
Yeah.
Because it's like your game is with your brother is to go buy gifts.
Yeah. we set a limit and then we go to the supermarket and we buy each other like snacks or things that we think the other person would like.
My games with my brothers are like who can like annoy the other the most before like we snap and break someone's leg.
Yeah, but my brother is my best friend. We're really wholesome. But that's what we do. We go to, and then Dean sometimes is allowed to play with us when he's in a good mood because he's a really bad shopper.
He's allowed to play with us sometimes.
Well, he's a bad shopper, but he'll come. He likes to come and play the game. And we started playing it in Kmart as well. But we do it always at the supermarket, and we just buy each other's favorite snacks, or if we see a new snack we think the other person would like.
Sunshine behaviour, if I ever heard it.
Yeah, that's right.
It is.
That's like midsummer sunshine behaviour.
It's definitely wholesome. And yeah, I highly recommend playing that with somebody you love love. Maybe a best friend if it's not your brother.
Yeah,
but,
me and my brothers would probably end up buying each other like really disgusting stuff.
I'm
we'd then
I'm a different kind of sunshine in that I will often buy Johnny things he hates, and it's funny.
Oh, no, that's what my brother and I do to Dean. We was like, there's this new flavour that neither of us want to try, and we're like, Dean, we'll try it. And we force him, and we watch his face to see whether it's any good or not, because he has tasting face, which that's for another time. Let's get back on track. Let's get on another.
Do you think couples fall naturally into grumpy sunshine patterns?
Yeah.
I think I'd be a grumpy in some. I'm sure there's a sunshine to my grumpy somewhere, because I think I can be grumpy. My family would probably call me grumpy. So I'm sure.
Are you grumpy, or are you just putting up boundaries? People don't always like it when we put up boundaries.
True.
Because I think by nature, yeah, but if you're,
but maybe it's just a menstruation.
I'm grumpy 1 week.
So you're a cycly
My
grump.
mum says she can pick it.
Lovely. That's lovely.
So, that's nice.
Oh, no.
So I'm grumpy like 2 weeks of the month.
But you get to be grumpy. I think it's more about
That's different.
it's more about your base temperament though than your mood, because mood is weather, it changes. But your base temperament is something else.
I think grumpy sunshine is more about your outlook, right? So like whether you're a more positive or a
Are you
negative
a half
person.
full or a half empty?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's it. I definitely think that's more.
I'm definitely an optimistic, positive person.
Yeah, I'm on the
I
bright
can
side of
get
life.
into moods though. You know, if you're hanging around negative people.
Yes.
We
I'm
were-
so influenced by
Yeah.
negative
Yeah.
people.
I had a joke. We were at a conference last year, and a couple of my friends were being just really grumpy. And like one of them isn't normally, but I think it was catching. And I had this thing with them. I'm like, all right, if you complain one more time, every time you complain, you have to say 5 good things straight afterwards. Like, and I held her to it. I was
Do
like,
you know,
if you
good.
complain,
that makes me think of sunshine behavior where like I was at a friend, like a friend's house, and we went to their family friend's house or something. I don't know. It's like further away in degrees of separation. And the mother makes everyone go around the table and say something good that happened
we do
in their
that.
day.
We do that.
Oh my God, that's so foreign to me. I rocked up and I was like, oh my God, I have to think about something good that happened in my day.
no.
Like, because it's like such a biased thing to immediately
because
think
we're
about
not
the bad.
we're not like religious or anything. So you know how
No, you
religious
just
people will say
say
grace
like
or
a grace,
whatever.
you say a good
So we
thing.
had a thing when the kids were growing up. So we always have dinner at the table, which like I think we're the only family of all my kids' friends that do that, and all their friends think we're weird. But every single night we sit at the table
So
and have dinner.
nice.
It's very nice.
It's very, happy days. But it was really important to me, and we love it. Even if we're fighting or everyone's someone's sullen, or it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But the whole time they were growing up, it was go around the table and say one good thing that happened to you today, one thing you're grateful for.
Sunshine.
I'm
behavior.
stealing that. I'm stealing that
It's
behavior.
good, but like we were doing it with this big, huge group of people, and we'd mainly spent the day together. And so, and the rule was no one's allowed to say the same thing.
Ooh.
And so all of us were like,
That's a
we've
bit
all done the
unfair.
same thing
Yeah.
today, and we all think it was great, and now we can't say it. So you have to like have something really
But it's
specific and
about-
small, and
Yeah.
like really appreciate
That's
the
what I was
little
gonna
thing.
say. It's
That's
like
nice.
it's about focusing on the small things.
Yeah. So like my friend's mum was like, having Georgia up here, it's really nice. And I was like,
Aww.
oh my God. It was so
But
cute.
things like I am really grateful every single day for my hot shower in the morning. I love having a shower. I think it's the best way to start my day.
Romanticizing the little things. I really like chopping
The cup
vegetables.
of tea, guys. The cup of tea.
I really like chopping vegetables. Like I love chopping an onion.
Oh,
And I just like try and
You
enjoy
can come
it.
over anytime, Georgia.
I like trying to enjoy it. Like I feel like it's important to
Oh my
enjoy.
God,
just
Do you also like
chopping an onion.
vacuuming and ironing?
I got home
gotten
the
to
other
that
night
stage.
and Johnny was cooking this giant curry because we had a dinner party on the weekend. So he was making these Indian curries. And I walked in and he was like, his face was swollen. And, he was sobbing.
This is to chop
And
so
I was
much
like,
onion.
oh, what's wrong? What's wrong? He's like, I've just chopped 10 onions.
We have a choppy chop machine for our onions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
Mine
what
is
it's
called Jonathan.
It used to be me, and then when we've tried to, because I love cooking, but I can't. Like, I don't
didn't
always
notice.
have time. Yeah, no, I do.
Gotta love chopping now.
Well, I don't always have time anymore, and so it's become a shared load. And Dean quite has discovering a joy of chopping and cooking, but he doesn't really enjoy chopping onions. So he went to Kmart and bought one with like a little string that you pull, and
Yep,
it makes the
I know that
blades
one.
go, and it chops all the onion up, and it's done in like 2 seconds. And I was like, okay, like,
But where's the joy in that?
but also
There is a Zen thing, isn't there, about taking a minute?
Yeah.
And I like being able to chop it really well.
But I have to say, like, I will give him this, like, yeah, good work. Like, what a time saver. What a time saver. They cutting onions in like quartered the time. And I was like, yeah, I've been wasting my life cutting onions.
Admit, I'm super grateful. The one thing I love is the first coffee of the morning.
Yes.
I love having my first coffee and watching the weather outside.
Like sunshine behaviour is just like, you know,
we're pains
loving
in the ass. We sound sickening.
We are.
I like chopping vegetables. I like my hot shower.
But me every single time you guys ask me a question, well, this is really cheesy.
We have this joke too. Like,
God, I love cheese.
I may have said this here before that we have this thing of like when someone's got annoying. Oh no, I said it on my other podcast. Sorry, but
oh gosh, Amy, rub it in. How many? Pencil us in, why don't you?
When we're annoying each other, like if I'm annoying him, I'm always like, when I die, this is what you'll miss. You'll be like, oh, I wish she was here to mess up the Tupperware drawer.
Yeah.
Or I wish she was here to not stack the dishwasher properly.
To slightly like burn the chicken every time
right.
you cook.
And you know what? The world is never worse off for sunshine people. Just saying.
Well, I think we can be really annoying. If you're in a bad mood, we're really annoying.
Yeah, but we don't make the world worse.
I find grumpy people really funny.
Yeah, me too.
I find them quite amusing.
I was a grumpy person. You're not going to expect this at a Harry Styles concert.
What? Because he didn't notice you?
I'm sorry. Can we clock
a little
that?
bit.
What time was that before Harry Styles came
My friend
on?
Dimity describes me standing at the concert. And I stood there with my arms crossed and I'm like staring up there. And
Is it because he's cheating on you with all this audience?
Yeah, it's also because he's so close and he's not looking at me.
Yeah, that would be depressing. Yeah.
You know what, Amy, how you
Harry.
said that everyone in your family doesn't think you're like, you know what? No one takes me seriously when I'm grumpy either. Dean thinks I'm funny when I'm grumpy.
Yeah.
He thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah, Johnny does too.
I'm like, why? I'm not that funny.
Except I think that my secret power is disappoint. If I'm disappointed in people, they feel it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I think people have a fear of disappointing me.
Although, you know, a lot of...
Because it's hard to do
you
when
were
you're
in the
sunshine.
meeting the other day. A lot of my postgrads find me brutal.
Yeah, they were saying that. Whereas I'm like, no, she's so kind.
My feedback's pretty blunt.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, but you still do smiley faces.
Yeah, there's smiley faces.
They don't know blunt.
You know, you
okay,
preface,
I've had blunt. You are not
preface
blunt.
Your scary. You go. Sorry, if it's harsh, I'm really sorry. There are smiley faces in there. Like, don't worry. That's sunshine behaviour.
Now I'll rewrite the whole thing.
You're just doing your job, but you're being sunshiny about it.
Okay, I'm going to get us back on track here. Grumpy sunshine in romances, guys, in the books, the trope.
I love it.
Do we love it? I love it. Do you love it, Georgia?
Well, yeah, I'm trying to look at like the ones that I've read. I can't even think about what tropes I really like. I just immediately go to enemies to lovers and then forget it all.
Well,
But
I
they
actually
can- I
have a
think
comment on that in a
They
minute.
can be crossovers. Yeah, I think you can
Yeah.
have enemies to lovers, grumpy
So
sunshine.
do you think the hating game is a grumpy sunshine or enemies to lovers?
Both.
Both.
It is a both. That's
Yeah.
how it's categorized. I'm like, I think that's really interesting. And
I think, yeah.
I wonder how the line works there. Like, does grumpy sunshine really lend itself to enemies to lovers?
Yeah, because they're rivals as well.
Yeah.
Like anything,
Yeah.
anything that's slightly antagonistic.
I don't think it's a necessary thing, but I think you could find they combine really nicely.
It's often like the sunshine never really having had an enemy and not being used to being sort of grumpy or harboring those sorts of
Well, it's really
negative things,
confronting
and
somebody
then-
coming at you so strong and when you're the opposite personality, isn't
and
it?
then that sort of enemy thing begins.
I was talking about this last weekend, and Jono was like, you know what would be interesting would be Sunshine. And I was thinking afterwards, there's a lot
Yeah.
of books that are grumpy, actually.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
Book Lovers is grumpy.
Yep. Grumpy.
And even I was thinking about Han and Leia, my favourites. They're grumpy.
But there's
Yeah.
no sunshine.
Is it because sunshine
boring.
would
Let me
already
buy you a gift. No, let me buy you a gift.
Is it because they would sort their shit out so quickly? Like they would be so
I'm
nice to each
sure
other. It would
no,
just
but
work.
sometimes sunshines. Sorry, I'm drinking water. I'm clunking around on the table. So if you can hear that at home. Sometimes sunshines are passive aggressive too. Like sunshine can hide, they can be people who are in denial or repress their feelings or have simmering rage underneath. I don't think all sunshines are well balanced.
I think especially women, like a lot of us have been told to
There's
be the
like a
nice girl or
reason
the
to be
good
a
girl,
sunshine,
right?
Yeah.
And that's a huge part of
I mean, we associate often like grumpy sunshine with man, grumpy woman sunshine.
because it's a
And-
good girl
yeah.
thing.
And
Well,
when
Harrison Ford's probably a great example in film of he always plays the grumpy dude.
he does.
But there's
But
something
he-
about him that's
do you
not.
know what?
I'm
He
like,
did-
you always know he's a little cheeky.
He's in this new TV show called Shrinking, and he's the grumpy guy as he always is, but he has these little sunshine moments that are so interesting for someone who's like so typically always played the grump.
Yeah.
Like, it's really weird to watch him. There's like this whole plot line where he has a little water bottle that he carries around with him everywhere, and and it's like one of the like press a button and it pops open thing. Like, and you just don't expect that from Harrison Ford. Like, he really likes candy in the TV show as well.
I think I do expect it from him because I think he's got that little bit of cheekiness to him.
Yeah,
that
so
it
like
just
that's what
peeks
happens,
out.
and you really see it in that TV show. It's so cute.
I love
Best love scenes ever, I think, is in Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they're on the boat. If you haven't seen it, you need to go see it. And George has probably not seen it because you haven't seen Empire Strikes Back. So, have you seen Indiana Jones?
No.
Oh, we need to do it because with Marion, right? She's a great heroine,
Mm-hmm.
but they're on the boat and he's being grumpy because he's all beaten up, and she's like, "Well, where does it hurt?" And he just points to his elbow, and she kisses it, and then it's like, "Well, where does it hurt?" And the thing about his grumpiness is, it's like a little kid.
Yes.
Who is like so hurt and vulnerable and is so
Just wants a little
desperate for
kiss.
love. But it's so beautiful because it ends with her going and where else, and he touches his lips. But he looks so insecure and worried that he's embarrassing himself.
That's really cute.
Yeah, and I think the thing about the grumpy is that what makes you melt with a grumpy hero is when they're vulnerable and sweet and like and the grumpiness is like a little
like a teddy bear, a little bit. Yeah, there's a teddy bearness. You know what? I think Harrison Ford is my first grumpy. Like, he was my. I'm gonna embarrass myself horribly here. I had a Harrison Ford Barbie doll as a kid. I had a Princess Leia, and a Han Solo.
I had them too.
Yeah, and I think Harrison Ford was my first real, like, I loved Harrison Ford. And I think
such a great couple. I love.
Yeah, but I think it's not even about the couple. I just loved Harrison Ford because I watched Indiana Jones and I watched Star Wars, and
the other one
him,
is
that grumpy guy that was very vulnerable and so sweet, and there was a teddy bearness to him.
I felt that with Viggo Mortensen in Lord of the Rings.
Ooh,
that's one of my massive crushes. That particular film and that particular actor.
It's gorgeous in that. There's one of my favourite lines in Gilmore Girls is Lorelai is talking to Rory and she goes, I was just a woman sitting at home thinking if only I could find a guy like Aragorn. I just think, yes, Lorelai, I hear
Gilmore
you.
Girls is a Grumpy Sunshine with Lorelai and Luke.
Yes, and look, I'm a massive Gilmore Girls fan. It's my all-time favourite.
He's like the ultimate grump.
He is.
He's a great grump.
He's almost too far sometimes, Luke. But she's so sunshine.
Yeah, she's so sad. But like, and then we were talking before the podcast about other Grumpy Sunshine
Yes,
people.
I have a list. Would you like my list?
Well, I was going to say, you know how it's always man, grump, woman, sunshine? I know
Except
that
the proposal, she's the grump.
Yeah, well,
yes,
when
they're
you
on my
flip
list.
the dynamic, it's interesting.
Yeah, so my list, I wrote a list of TV show / movie. Ooh. Grumpy Sunshine's my favourites. So I'll read them to you. My top of all time is David and Patrick in Schitt's Creek.
Aww.
And then I also have The Proposal, which we talk about a lot on this. I think we're a big Proposal fans. Then I have April and Andy in Parks and Rec.
I love them as a Grumpy Sunshine.
Yes, and
Because
she's
they're like,
grumpy.
They're
She's grumpy.
real polar opposites
Yeah.
because she's not just grumpy, she's like dark. Like she's like witch sacrifices and like blood, and he's so
doofy.
He's so
He's like a
doofy.
big golden Labrador.
But it's
No,
a front,
so
right, for
cute.
April. It's a big old front for April.
I
A lot
know,
of it
but
is so
it's
gorgeously
a front, but also
front.
it's just Aubrey Plaza being into like
Yeah.
really weird stuff. Oh, I loved it.
And then I have
She gives-
Jess and Nick from New Girl
Oh,
as well.
love.
That's
Love.
my little list. I mean, there's
Nick isn't
probably
even
heaps
like
more, but-
Nick isn't even like a grumpy. He's just like an old man. That's
Yeah.
like the whole thing. He's like, I'm just like late. Oh, I love that.
Now, the thing I wanted to ask, because especially talking about Jess and Nick, because Zooey Deschanel has a reputation as the Manic Pixie Dream Girl.
Yeah, she
right?
does. Yeah.
So do we think that sometimes that is the problematic perhaps with the sunshine grumpy trope, is that you might find the woman falls into the Manic Pixie Dream Girl a little bit?
Yes.
I
Because
mean-
I think if you look at Love on the Brain, that happened.
Yeah. I don't think that Jess is a Manic Pixie Dream Girl in New Girl.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, she is.
I think she's Manic Pixie Dream Girl in 500 Days of Summer.
Definitely
She
is.
definitely
I
is.
think that she's a
No.
little bit too caricature in New Girl.
No, but in New Girl, like that, moving into their house and she's got all the cute outfits, but she's sitting there crying over the movie, and like she is like the slightly kooky girl.
Yeah, when I think Manic Pixie Dream Girl, though, I think there's a certain coolness, like supposed coolness to them Like
I know what you mean.
Do you know what I mean?
Natalie Portman in Garden State too.
Yeah, like you have, like she's quirky, but then she's also like cool and she's one of the boys. Whereas Jess in New Girl she's one of the boys, but like not because she is one of them. Do you know what I mean? Like she just happens to be there. Like I don't think that if I think Manic Pixie Dream Girl, I think the cool girl monologue from Gone Girl. I don't know if you guys know that one.
I actually think, I'm sorry, she's got to be a little quirky too. And
yeah, definitely has to have a bit of quirk
I
to
think
them.
the kookiness can go a bit overboard with Sunshine sometimes.
yes.
Yeah, I think it goes overboard a bit in the Hating Game with the collection of Smurfs.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That was
just
the weirdest
so
thing I've
friggin'
ever. I was like, she has a collection of Smurfs, like
Yeah,
little
you know
tiny
how
Smurfs.
you find it really weird in It Ends With Us, how she writes the letters to Ellen?
Yeah, writes letters to Ellen.
That's what the Smurf thing
Yeah,
does for
that
me.
is. It's the same. And she like loves. She loves quoting Finding Nemo. I'm like, you're a grown woman. So I know that Finding Nemo it's a lovely movie. It's a great movie.
No, but I agree. A woman could
Just
like,
keep
writing
swimming. There has to be an
Smurfs?
adult
What?
version of Just Keep Swimming. That's the quote she always brings up.
Now I think the
It's a
opposite.
good quote in her defense.
I know, but like there has to be like something better. I don't know.
And I feel like the opposite, and I'm going to talk a tiny bit of Chloe Brown here, because Chloe Brown, for those of you who are reading along at home and getting there, you'll have already discovered, because it's within the very early stages of the book, that she's the grump and he's the sunshine. But I think that there can be the ways, and I wonder, I would really love to hear you guys getting really into this, because I think you guys will come up with some really great stuff about the idea of the grumpy woman. And like I've already touched a little bit on the idea of the good girl and a few things like this, and our reaction to the grumpy woman, because to me, Chloe is too far into the grumpy at times and it makes her unlikable. But is that something like
Is that a sexist judgment?
Well,
Yeah.
I know for me it's not in this particular book, because there's other versions of the grumpy woman that I don't mind, like April. But in Parks and Rec, I should probably just say, rather than just saying April. But at the same time, is there some inherentness in that? Like, what do we think about, like, do we think that the reason why the woman is so rarely the grumpy, or why it's hard to write her as the grumpy, or why she gets so much more given a hard time, is because of that inherent nature that women need to be likable?
Because you've mentioned April, I'm going on to TV, and I was thinking about Tina Fey in 30 Rock. Liz Lemon is grumpy.
Yeah, she
and
is.
She is not. I mean, she's also kooky, but not in that Manic Pixie Dream Girl way, in
Correct.
a really authentic way.
Yep.
So I think she works. Then I moved on to thinking about how Amy Poehler in Parks and Rec is ultimate sunshine.
Ultimate sunshine. Oh my
She's
god,
amazing.
she's a great sunshine
And
example.
actually, her romance in that is great because he's slightly grumpy.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
he is.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think, do you know what? I think
And she's really attracted to grumpy people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like even her and
Her Ron.
her boss.
Her and Ron.
I know. Well, if I think about why Chloe's grumpy is maybe not in the book, why it maybe isn't, what makes her unlikable is that we don't really totally see a justification or like the inner life of why she might be grumpy.
Yeah. When we get to
Let's
book
get to
club,
book club.
I'm
I
going to
know.
talk more
but
about
like,
that.
say we talk about book lovers, like Nora's grumpy.
Yeah, and they're worse because they're both grumpy though.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. I'm like, is there a risk that there is a risk, right, that you've got to play the line really fine?
You kind of need to know why they're grumpy or why.
Yeah.
Just thinking about film though, like you guys haven't seen it, but you should. Some Kind of Wonderful, I think, is a great 80s John Hughes romance. And she's grumpy and he's sunshine in that one. And I think it's so well done.
And Meg Ryan is often a bit of a grumpy.
Yeah, well, she's like OCD.
She's like
Passag,
high strung vibe.
sunshiny one in.
Well, didn't the low maintenance, high maintenance come from
Yes,
When
yeah,
Harry
yeah,
Met
yeah.
Sally?
When Harry Met
and she's
Sally.
the idea of high maintenance,
Yeah.
which I suppose you could.
And he's like low
Connect
maintenance
to-
but grumpy.
Yeah.
She's high maintenance sunshine. He's
I
low
hate.
maintenance
Do you know what
grumpy.
Do you know what you do see a lot on TikTok at the moment? High maintenance things I do because I'm low maintenance. Like to be low maintenance. Like the high maintenance thing has really gotten into like this really horrible. Like it was just supposed to be a joke in When Harry Met Sally, and now it's like this intense thing that women feel like they have to align to.
Did you
in
guys ever
dating
see The
scenarios.
Breakfast Club too?
Yes.
Like the Ali Sheedy, Emilio Estevez romance.
Yeah.
She's grumpy, he's sunshine.
Yes. She's almost.
She's also like April.
Yeah. I was like, but almost even like. She doesn't even emote enough to be grumpy.
I love to know
She
why.
chirps.
Why do the grumpies and the sunshines come together? That's a good question to me. Like, why did April and Andy come together?
To me, that's an opposites attract.
Yeah, but I think that there's more almost to it. Like, why did April and Andy come together? They actually have a lot in common, but they are.
Well, because I guess you complement each other, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and grumpy sunshine doesn't mean you don't have things in common. It means it just means you look at you still got the same cup of water. You're just looking at it from a different perspective.
well, I guess it's like if you look at Parks and Rec, what's her partner's name again?
Andy.
No. If we think about
Ben.
Ben. That's it. Why did I say
That's
Tom?
right.
No, Tom is.
He looks
Tom
like a Tom. Tom's Tom Haverford.
Yeah.
With Leslie and Ben, they both have a shared value system. They believe the same things and they want the same things.
Different
and they
approaches.
buy into the same things. It's just that he's a bit grumpy about it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the best sunshine though is the Rob Lowe character.
Yeah. Oh my God, I forgot about him as a sunshine.
I would like it a glass. I would like it half full.
Yes. I would like the salad. I would like the dressing on the side. I would like the salad.
Anne is probably the grumpy
Yeah,
version,
she's
but
the grump.
I would say she's not really
God, they play
grumpy
big into
either.
grumpy sunshine
They
in Parks
actually
and Rec.
Everyone
really
is.
do.
Yeah,
Everyone's
everyone
a
is.
grumper. Like,
Except for Tom and Donna.
Oh
I
my
would
God, this is
say.
really ironic that I've forgotten. Jerry. I forgot his name for a second.
Oh,
Jerry. Like, he's a
they forget
sunshine.
too.
Oh, I love Jerry.
Like, he's a
home
sunshine.
life when
Like,
he's married to Christy
I know.
Brinkley.
He's like a full sunshine. Tom's a bit of a, I don't know. They really do
I
play
think
into
Tom
it.
and Donna kind of sit aside, but that's the whole point of them. They often sit aside.
I keep thinking of examples, and then once we start talking, they dance out of my head. I had another one,
Just
I've
keep
lost
going.
it.
Oh God, yeah. Parks and Rec really plays with it, and it works so well in that show. Like, it does work really well. You have people who are like both, like you said, the shared value system, and they're committed to these same things, but they're just having different approaches, and it works well that they have the different approaches.
Do you think? So I want to in Schitt's Creek. So I've talked about how David and Patrick are like some of my
great romance.
That's my one of my all time favorites. I use it in teaching.
Even
I use
the
it in.
proposal, like how grumpy David is going up to the picnic and just ruins the whole proposal. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
I think I need to rewatch that tonight. I haven't watched it in ages.
But I was wondering if Moira and
Yeah, they're also grumpy. sunshine.
right.
Yeah.
I was like, it's
And
so-
also Alexis and Ted are kind of both sunshine.
yeah, they're the one with something. She's something kind of apart because she's sunshine, but also she's so like.
I haven't watched Schitt's Creek. I'll be honest with you.
Oh, you need to.
I know.
See
I've
Schitt's Creek.
tried to get into it. The only
you
scene
need
in
to
my
keep
head
going. You need to get
is,
through.
Why are you wearing a wedding dress at my wedding? And she's like, it's not a wedding dress. It is a white dress with a headdress.
By Vera Wang, probably.
Yeah.
And then when they go to, and then just as she's about to walk, David,
Oh my God.
I think I am wearing a wedding dress. And he's like, I know. You are. It's fine though. It's too late now. Yeah, no. I mean, my favorite scene of Schitt's Creek is the serenade, but yeah, when Patrick serenades in the
shop. Yeah.
so beautiful. But yeah, I'm like, I think that it's interesting because we were talking about how shows seem to have patterns with it.
Have you guys seen The West Wing?
No.
I've seen the first few episodes.
No, you need to watch all the way to the end.
I do
Like,
really want to watch it.
because I think, just spoiler alert, Donna and Josh, one of the best grumpy sunshine relationships ever.
It's not the
Oh, really?
I'm trying to remember who it is.
Josh is the one who's like he whips up stuff, and like he's the one who gets votes and stuff, and she's his assistant.
Yes.
But she ends up becoming. She goes off on another campaign and becomes kind of equal to him.
I do know that actually because you literally get it in the first episode. You go,
It is so romantic. The final season when they get together, but she is always so sunshiny and he's so grumpy.
And you know what? Grumpy sunshine is a popular trope outside of romance too. Like I think about when you think about like good cop, bad cop, and like partnerships and things. It's a really common thing that
it's
you
like
just
a fun
see.
dynamic to play with. Like you really
Yeah.
do get so much, even just writing it. Like it's just,
It's so look. The joy of writing it is it's funny.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not hard to play for laughs.
Have you guys written Grumpy Sunshines?
A lot of them, yeah.
I don't know.
Most
how-
of the westerns are grumpy
Yeah,
sunshine.
I think at the moment I'm kind of writing
Yeah.
sunshine sort of sunshine. I don't know.
I think bucket list even Jodie's grumpy and Kelly's sunshine.
I would say so, definitely.
Yeah.
And you know what? All of the Morgan boys are the Morgan boys.
Actually, but when you said that, I
McBride
think
boys.
I've written
Sorry,
like
are grumpy, aren't they?
friendship grumpy sunshine. Like when I'm thinking about writing friends, and because I think I maybe make the distinction more between my friends, like who's the grumpy, who's the sunshine, who's the organised, who's the mess. Like,
Do you think grumpy sunshine works better with certain subgenres of romance? Because I was thinking about how they come up a lot in Christmas romances, which I off pod was talking about how because of the Grinch sort of and the Charles
Scrooge.
Dickensy
or
sort of
enemies
type
to
thing.
lovers, we also said as well.
But I also think
I know that's a
Regency.
trope.
Yeah, I was going to say
I think it's
Regencies
really
and
big in
historicals.
historicals.
Yeah, because I was thinking about how often it comes up in Regencies, and because like if you think about it, Bridgerton, the first season, Daphne is much more of the sunshine, and he is the grump.
They're kind of both grumps in the second
In the
season.
second one they are.
Yeah, that's grump.
They're very similar. Their story, like, because I think probably at least half of romance, if not 75%, I think they're mirror images of each other.
Yeah, they're a really good example of like being the exact
Being on the same journey.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was thinking about how certain subgenres, I think, really lean
Westerns
into it.
100% do.
Yeah.
Grumpy cowboys, like Harrison Ford style cowboys.
Sports romances is the other subgenre I'm thinking.
So we're leaning towards the hyper masculine.
I know.
ideal here.
I know. I
Ooh.
suppose that it does sort of happen because of the hypermasculine.
Well,
like
we
the-
keep returning back to the idea of being a good girl means being sunshiny, which means that we would turn to the hypermasculine for the grumpy.
And like, so I mentioned it in another pod, but Bell Hooks, The Will to Change, when she talks about masculinity and love, it's this idea that men are deformed very early on by the way we get them to amputate certain emotions.
Yeah.
And that they only sex becomes, like their sexual life becomes the one time.
Where they emote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where certain kinds of vulnerable emotions are okay within the bedroom. And so I think it makes sense in romance that the grumpiness is often like where we get it in the romance is when he is feeling these feelings that are making him intensely uncomfortable.
Yes, and I think there is a version of it that hits darker style romances too, where one of the reasons that the barrier hits is that the grumpy guy feels he is too dark for the sunshine girl and he'll corrupt her. He will, but he's tempted by the idea of corrupting her, right? So
Poor little love.
That's so.
But isn't it? It's like in those darker
Yeah.
romances. I'm like, I have been listening to Twisted Love by
Anna Hong.
Anna Hong, and I've been trying to get through it. And I apologise to big fans of this book. I know it's very, very popular, but it's so problematic, and I'm really struggling to read it. But it's this guy, this grumpy guy, and he's, this rich business genius guy, but he's dark and his parents died and he remembers it and it happened in front of him and he's got all these scars and he's too dark for her and she's sunshiny and bright and whatever, but she's got scars too because her mum tried to kill her when she was a child. And
Oh my God.
yeah, no, it's really
This is
crazy
dark.
intense. But she bakes cookies and she brings over the notebook.
Do you know what
to watch
that
and
brings up? I will say, like the sunshine. Sometimes the sunshine dynamic and how people try to present women as sunshines in romances kind of annoys me.
Yeah, see, this is what I mean. This is where I'm heading to.
So it's like the Smurf thing and like the collection of like these childish toys or like these like in what else am I thinking about? In the flat share. I love the flat share, I really do. But she has this very like almost like very like colourful like big, bright, colourful.
She's a bit of a Manic Pixie Dream Girl.
Yeah, and I kind of they almost associate the sunshine with a lot of like childish characteristics.
I
think that's
I
my
think it's
reaction.
trauma covering too. Like the sunshine is seen as trauma covering. Like a woman will just put a big smile on her face
But
and
I think-
everything's fine.
I
even
know,
though
but that doesn't mean they need to have those.
But I think
sorts
you're
of
onto
things.
something there, Georgia.
Yeah.
There's something with the sunshininess. And it goes. You can think about any representation you want, even if it's Marilyn Monroe. This equation of sort of light, fluffy with childishness and
It does happen a
girlishness.
lot. Like
Yep.
it happens in It Ends With Us as well. She has that like childish aspects to her, like the fact that she
And Love on the Brain, we were saying that there
Yeah,
was
yeah,
something about
like
it.
Yeah.
and their sunshines, but a lot of the time it's because of their like associated interests and associated aesthetics.
Yes.
that I think
And Chloe
forms
Brown
that.
has that too because she like wears onesies
She
and tails.
yeah,
and
she
stuff.
wears she's called Button. Like she wears buttons all the time, and like that. I don't know. It just there's often that association, and
But I
I feel
think-
like you can be a sunshine and
Without
not
that.
without all that.
You
like
can be
they
a grown-up sunshine.
yeah, like you don't have to have this sort of childish
Because I
aesthetic
think
and
this
aspects
links
to you.
to something Kathleen just said too about the dark trope, about he will be too much for her, corrupt her. I've heard people talking about, you would have heard it, like that guy, you know, that guy who tunes women and
yeah.
and works women. And one of my closest friends, I'm going to shout out to her, she's an academic, Dr. Chelsea Avard, has this really great feminist response to this, which is stop infantilizing the women. Like he's not tuning them; they are choosing. Like if they want to go home and fuck him that night, they may be using him. They might be tuning him and using him, but this empowering the man to be manipulating women.
And this idea that they take over like a dominant role or something that they're
this
choosing.
idea that they're like in some always they can be sometimes, and we all know that that it can be catfishy and abusive and awful. But also, we don't need to infantilize women all the time into this childish, girlish like Beauty and the Beast style. She's a young maiden.
Virginity.
Yeah.
There's a virginity thing tracked into that, I think.
Yeah, but also even thinking that women, it's such a slut-shaming thing to think that women who are sleeping with these guys are not knowingly doing it.
and
Yeah,
the
but that's what
sunshines
I mean
often
about the virginity thing being tracked in, is that it's surely she wants to be pure, surely she must be not, so she must have been corrupted, because otherwise if she's choosing to own her sexuality and be that aggressive, then she's not the pure virginal good girl.
Or even not willing to have sex outside of love, right?
Yeah.
Like there's sex for recreational activity.
There's such like an innocence as well that they usually play up with Sunshines, where they're like, oh my God, like I don't know what to do, and like help me, and like that often comes a lot of the
me
time
on my
with
own
Sunshine.
sexuality.
Yeah,
I don't
like
know
that
my-
happens a lot. Like lots of it does happen with.
What's your favourite Sunshines? Do you have any favourites? Now everyone's going to draw a blank because you have to think about it.
I will see, because that's my list of the TV ones. I know it was like Patrick is one of my favourite Sunshines.
Yeah. I mean, Leslie from Parks and Rec's pretty great.
She
love
is
Leslie.
so good. Like she is type A representation. Like she's the best. Like, and I never get sick of her
No.
Sunshine. Like it's so enthusiastic. I do love her as a Sunshine. Like I love her.
And I'm a Gilmore Girls fan, so like Lorelai is one of my favourite Sunshines. She's just so
I'm trying to think of a male
funny.
Sunshine that I love.
And you know who one of my favourite grumps is Emily, in a sense of with a familial relationship being Sunshine Grumpy.
Emily and what?
In Gilmore Girls, her relationship with her mum is so grumpy. And I love them. I love Emily and Richard. Just saying. Sorry. Getting fangirly.
I'm trying to
think.
I'm trying to think of male grumps.
Well, male Sunshines or
male Sunshines. Oh, Win's a bit of a
Win is
Sunshine.
yeah,
I was
he
just
is.
going to say
You
Win's
liked-
a bit.
you
And
liked
I
that.
liked Win. And I'm writing a Sunshine at the moment. And I like
I
him.
do like flirty, happy guys.
Yeah, they're just like fun, and they're like oh
but
my
I
God,
also
no,
like
I've
soulful,
remembered.
complicated. So
I've remembered a Sunshine in it's called Sweet Filthy Boy by Christina Lauren and Ansel in that. I love him. He's such a sunshine. Like the idea is that he's like so up for anything, like all the time. Like they needed money once when they were on a trip, and so he's like, fine, I'll go into that strip club and get up on the pole. Like I will do it. Like he's like so happy and like always. He's a good one. He is a really fun one.
You know what? I actually really liked Kelly in someone else's bucket list, Amy.
Oh, thanks. I have to
He was
say,
a lovely Sunshine.
I have to say, a couple of editors who looked at it were saying that they liked that.
The bartender,
He
because
never-
he's also a great
Yeah.
Sunshine.
Well, that Kelly doesn't need fixing. That Kelly is just 100% there for Jodie, and Kelly
Yes.
is not a broken person in any way.
Yeah, it's so cute. And the bartender, because
I think the bartender might be gay.
Funny you should ask. Have either of you read that?
No, do you know which bartender I'm talking about?
Oh no, you mean Hopper?
Yeah.
Oh no, Hopper is
the bar
Sunshine.
owner.
Yeah, Hopper.
The
Hopper is-
Sunshine. He's good.
Hopper is a total sunshine.
Yeah. When you were like, he's gay, I was like, no.
I thought you meant the bartender in the champagne bar. No, you mean Hopper.
Yes. I mean, in the book that you need to write out of this one.
I
I will
think a
never
few
stop
people-
harassing you for
I
that.
feel like a few people may want a Claudia and Hopper book.
Yes, I want that so badly. And if not, maybe a little tiny like short story.
I thought of you when there's like the Christmas scene where he comes in out of the snow looking like a Hallmark hero.
The whole time I was like, Amy has written this for me. Please tell me she's written this for me. I was like, this is just my like. Of course I love it because everything about it was so good. But
I have another sunshine for you. It's from Funny You Should Ask. He's called Gabe.
I haven't read that yet. I've got it.
It is good, actually. I think you two would both really like it because it's like a.
Who wrote that one?
Elisa Sussman.
Okay, I'm writing it down.
I think she's a first-time author.
Funny You Should Ask. Everyone go read it with us.
Actually, you would like it, Amy, because it's a Hollywood set one.
Ooh.
So
Yeah, I was going to
it'll be a
say,
good one.
isn't it? Yeah.
But it flashes back and forth in time, and when she first meets him,
Oh, that's how I know it. I've been seeing it crop up.
I put the first chapter in the romance lecture that I gave recently. I don't know.
That's also how I know it.
Yeah. And he is like, he's a celebrity, and she expects him to be a bit like, standoffish and quiet, but he's really like lovely and like, do you want to come join this and come and like, he really envelops her and like they get on really well. But then in the time jumps, he's kind of had a bit of a rough time since like their first really like sunshiny experience, and you kind of see him become a bit of a grump. Not really a grump, like he's still like the kind sunshiny person that he is, but he's gone through a bit of a rough time. Yeah. And so Men in Therapy, if you
guys,
will.
I've mentioned it before and you've not seen it, but Anne of Green Gables, if anyone's watched like the 80s series, Gilbert Blythe is a bit of a beautiful sunshine.
And you know what? There's an actress who always plays sunshiny characters, I reckon. She's occasionally played one not, but she plays them really well. Bethany Joy Lenz. She plays Haley in One Tree Hill, who is the sunshine to Nathan's grumpy.
Oh, yeah.
And she does a lot of Hallmark Christmas movies.
Right.
And she's a really great sunshine in the Christmas movies, and she gets paired up a lot with the grumpy guy. And I think she is I always find her so charming. Like I watch them and I'm like, she's great because there's something very natural about it. It's like what you talked about, Georgia, about that she doesn't do that fake performance femininity that makes her.
Amy and Laurie in the new Little Women, like Florence Pugh as Amy.
Oh,
when she's doing her feet.
Oh my God.
Great.
They're so good. Yeah, because Amy is the grump. Yes?
I don't know.
Because she is a bit of a grump. She's always a bit like, oh, I want to go, I want to do this. Like,
she's a bit whiny, but she
she
actually reminds me of Junebug McBride.
Yeah.
If I could de-age Florence Pugh,
does.
if I could have Florence Pugh as a teen, she'd be a great Junebug.
Such a good Junebug.
Oh, yeah, she
she's
would.
like,
She'd
oh my
be the
God,
best.
Amy is so Junebug. Amy,
Yeah.
would you say that
I had a review recently which said, I think it was in Publishers Weekly or Library Journal, which said Junebug McBride is Ramona Quimby if she'd been raised by wolves.
I don't know who Ramona Quimby is, I'll be honest.
Kids book thing.
Do you think that Kit is a sunshine in Kit McBride?
I think, I mean, he's very sweet.
Yeah, he's really sweet. Absolutely. He's very
he's-
quiet.
Yeah, reads romance novels. He's got to be.
Yeah, oh my God, I forgot that about him. He's his
very
chest
wholesome,
of books.
isn't
My editor, when I submitted that, I was going through her notes, and just when it gets to that bit, she wrote in the margins, "Oh my God, is he a romance reader?" And then there were just all these love hearts.
Aww.
It's so cute. Like the chest of books, and he's like so protective of her. Oh, that was gorgeous.
I know.
He is a sunshine, actually.
I
That
think
specifically.
he's a quiet sunshine.
He's a quiet sunshine. Whereas I suppose you don't associate that with sunshine. You expect them to be like
Junebug's
big and
a
happy and
total
exciting.
sunshine, and I think Beau is probably a sunshine. Morgan is a total grump.
Yeah, I know. And I always think of all of them as grumps because of the way they treat Junebug. Because she brings out the grumpy in everyone.
Oh, she'd bring out the grumpy in us if you had to raise that child.
Yeah. Always having
I
to,
cannot wait to do her story. I've got the best idea for her story. It's going to be called The Courtship of Junebug McBride, and it's so funny.
Everyone should absolutely rally behind the other
everyone
book
go buy it.
so that Amy can write it.
So Morgan
Buy
McBride is
Morgan.
out. Marrying Off Morgan McBride has come out this year. Kit McBride was out last year. If you buy them, I can keep writing them.
And they're really good, so you should buy them and read them.
And is Morgan's story a grumpy sunshine?
Yeah.
I'm like, because I've only read chapter 1. So
Yeah. She's like, it's like if you found someone as strong-willed as him, like it's like putting two bulls in a china shop, but she's not a grump.
No, but like compared to him, she is a sunshine.
She's just his match, and she's a match for Junebug, so it's kind of fun. It's really fun.
Oh, I'm so excited to get into it. The first chapter so far has been fantastic.
It made me laugh when I was writing it.
I laughed last night already, and I'm only read, but it's every time Junebug opens her mouth.
Yes. There's a line I gave to Morgan, it's right near the end, but there's this line that I stole straight from Johnny that he does when he's being grumpy. is he'll be doing, and Morgan just does this nice thing for the heroine, and she's just like, I don't want it. and he's like, I'm being nice. Even when he's nice, he's grumpy.
Oh, you know what? Dean is like that too. When he does something and I'm like, no, thank you. And he's like, but I'm being nice. Yeah. I'm like, okay.
Just don't do it in such a grumpy way.
This just makes me laugh. I'm like, yeah, I know.
I thought actually Alison Cochrane's The Charm Offensive was a Grumpy Sunshine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really remember it, honestly. Why did we read it like a year ago?
Yeah, I feel like the guy, I can't Dev, and I can't remember the other guy's name.
Charlie.
So Charlie is more grumpy,
yeah,
right? Or anxious,
and Dev's like the optimistic, like hopeful,
but also depressive.
Yeah. Interestingly, but that's what I think we were talking about a little bit with Sunshine covering. A lot, like it covers trauma. So I think people like Deb's a great example of someone who exerts a lot of energy into being positive, but is a manic depression, you know, and that's a common trait that depression is often. A lot of people, you know, when someone's killed themselves and they say, "Oh, but they were such a happy person all the time. I had no idea that they were suffering."
Like
and
Robin Williams.
Yeah, well, it's that's a great example of people who cover up a lot of their deep feelings with joy or confidence.
Or performativity.
Yeah, because they're actually trying to hide how hard a time they're having.
And also because you don't want to necessarily expose yourself to everyone you meet, right?
That's right, 100%.
So that's why the romance is interesting, because it's often the sunshine gets behind the grumpiness, but the grump gets behind the sunshine.
Yeah, definitely.
Like in The Charm Offensive, Charlie gets behind Dev's sunny exterior to the depression.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Dev gets behind Charlie's anxiety, front to the anxiety.
Yeah. It's it's how you break down each other's walls because you recognise those behaviours that maybe only a true grump and true sunshine could see in the other. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Lovely.
Well, we will be getting into this and also our other topics of the month, bucket lists and society, when we return next week. For
book club.
Book club. So get reading if you haven't.
It's our favourite time of the month.
It is. If you haven't read Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, this is your 1 week warning. You need to get reading. You need to get listening. The audio book is read by
Lady Danbury and Bridgerton.
So if you love Bridgerton,
Joe or something. We should look that up.
Yeah, we should look up her name.
We'll talk about that and more
next week.
In our book club.
Sign off. Can I say, I think it's interesting as we go into a Grumpy Sunshine book to note that a lot of the best-selling books, like Ali Hazelwood, Tessa Bailey, Emily Henry, are Grumpy Sunshines.
Yeah, so many.
So
I think it's a very
sellable. So as you go into reading Get a Life, Chloe Brown, think about how much you're enjoying Grumpy Sunshine.
Note it down. Okay, everyone, we will see you next week.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.